Good day to you at wherever you are. Thanks for watching this video. Today we are going to look at how we can solve questions on the decreasing and decreasing value of x and values of y. So this is our question. A. Copy and complete the table below for the function f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 3 at the interval x is greater than or equal to -1 and less than 5. And this is the table. Let's look at our B. Using the scale of 2 centimeters 61 unit on both axes, draw the graph of the function f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. And let's look at the last question. From your graph, find the values of x for which y decreases as s increases. Y increases as s increases. So this is our question. Let's see how we can solve that. To solve this, you have to substitute the values of x in the table into the function one after the other, so that whatever value you get would be the value of y. Let's do few for you to see how it is done. The function is f of x equals x squared minus 4x plus 3. So when you consider from the table, our first value for s is -1. Let's put that -1 into the function. So wherever we find s, put in -1, but put -1 in bracket before you square it. If you fail to do so, your answer may be incorrect. -4 times x, so in place of x we put in -1, then plus 3. This means that in the function, wherever you find x is where you may substitute the value of x. And then when s equals -1 is substituted, we get y value to be 8. Let's see our second one. When x is 0, we get 3. When x is 0, that's the value of y becomes 3. But in questions where you are asked to copy and complete, there is no need for you to go through these calculations. No marks is awarded for that. No mark is awarded, or no marks are awarded for that. Okay, now you have to use your calculator for that. There is no time for me to teach you that one. So learn how to use your calculator to solve for the values of x. So this is our table. -1 we had 8. 0 we had 3, and it is shown there. When these combine, writing the x value first, you bring comma and the y value second. When these are put in bracket, we get the points. So the points are what you see down here, and that is how we had the points. So when you substitute 1, or when you use your calculator, 1 would give you 0, 2 would give you -1, 3 would give you 0, 4 would give you 3, 5 would give you 8. So these are the values you are going to use to draw our graph. If you get this, then you are halfway through. This is the table helping us to know the values of x and y to be used to draw our graph. The part B, or the question B, says that using a scale of 2 centimeters is to 1 unit, we should draw the graph of the function f of s equals s squared minus 4s plus 3. The graph is drawn all because you have been taught how to draw a quadratic graph if you have been following me. So if you have a problem in drawing that, look for my video on how to draw a quadratic graph. Now that you have the graph, let's see if the scale given was followed. From the origin, on the y-axis, we move to 1, 2, 3 upwards. Then, down the y-axis, we move to -1, and then the other numbers follow. And on the x-axis, on the right, we move from 0 to 1, 2, 3, and so on. And to the left, we move to -1, -2. So you see that the scale given is used to draw our graph. Now, question C. It states that from your graph, find the values of s for which y decreases as s increases. For the sake of this question, let me draw a vertical line to touch our first point and horizontal line from that point to touch our y-axis, so that I could use that to explain to you once and for all how x and y values decrease. That is our vertical line which touches the first point, and this is the horizontal line that touches the y-axis. Now listen to this. This is a real life situation. Let's assume that the quadratic graph here is a valley, and you are on top of the valley. That's the first point, and you feel thirsty, but recognizes that down the valley there is a river. Would you stay on top to die, or you would move down to find water to quench your thirst? Now you decide that, no, I wouldn't die, but I have to come down and find water to quench my thirst. Look at how you may move and what would happen. When you move, I hope you are following. You are not on top again. Look at where you are. Once you move, even if you take one step, the distance between you and the river, which is found at the turning point here, would decrease. When you move again, the distance will decrease. So, whilst you move down the y-axis, the distance between you and the river would be decreasing. That's why we say that down the y-axis there is a decrease in values of y. I hope you are following well. Now, let's move again. You see where you are? Now, whilst you move down, the y values will be decreasing. And the distance covered on the x-axis will also be increasing. So the more you get closer on the x-axis, the more you get closer to the river, the colder it becomes. You all know this, that when you are far away from a river, it is warmer than when you get closer to the river. So once you move on the x-axis towards the river, the colder it becomes. So let's continue moving. You see that the x-axis, you continue to move forward to the right. So there is increase in coldness when you want to get closer to the river. And whilst you move down the hill, the valley, the distance between you and the river still gets closer. So the distance you have to move decreases. Now you see, then you get to where the river is. Here, where the river is, the land becomes flat. That is why you see this being flat. Because where the river is, the land must be flat. So let's assume that where the river is our line of symmetry. Which isn't part of the question, but I want to draw that for better understanding. Now, when you get to the river, you stop and find water to drink. So when you look at the diagram, when you move down the y-axis, the values decrease. So from 8, now look at where we are at -1. And when we look at the x-axis, we started from -1 and look at where we are now, +2. So from -1 we move to 0, 1, 2, meaning the values are increasing. Therefore, whilst the y values decrease, the s values increase. Therefore, our answer would be x is greater than or equal to -1 and less than 2, because at 2 the graph would be flat, and -1 is included because generally the graph of the function would extend upward, like you see the green line. But because we are restricted to use certain s values, that's why we started from -1. So the -1 is included as part of the values for which the graph decreases along the s-axis. Now, that is the inequality form, as you already know. If you don't want that one, you can write it in the interval notation form. This is bracket close, -1, 2, bracket open. So any of these two answers is correct. So where you stop and where you started your journey, we find the s values for that, and that would be the values of x for which the y decrease, the y values decrease. So our first point is -1, and then the second point is 2. We write the -1 first and we write the 2 next. We leave space in between them and write the x because they are values of x. And then we find the appropriate inequality signs to be placed in between them. Our answer would be x is greater than or equal to -1 and less than 2. Less than 2 because two is where the land becomes flat, where our river body is. So 2 should not be included. Why include -1? We include -1 because the graph for this function did not start from -1 if values of x were not restricted. So it started from somewhere. Look at it, the green line, and it started decreasing. So we should include that -1. At -1 it was decreasing. That is it. So the next answer is written in interval notation form. This has also been taught in one of my videos. So the answer would be close bracket -1, 2 and open bracket for the interval notation form. Let's see our next question. The next question is, from your graph, find the values of s for which y increases as s increases. Here we want to find where on the graph both x and y values are increasing. Now, after quenching your thirst with water from the river, you notice that that place is very cold. So you decided to move towards the right side of the valley by crossing the river to find where you can be warm. you started moving, climbing up. If you notice, whilst we were in the river, on the y-axis you were at -1, but look at where you are now, because you are climbing up. So the value on the y-axis is also increasing. You see that? You see that? The y, look at it critically. The y is moving up. Now look at where you are on the y-axis. And look at where you are on the x-axis. The x-axis also keep on moving to the right side. Now you move till you get to the top of the valley. Good. So we can see that on the y you were at -1 and now you are at 8. So there has been an increase in value in the values of y. And on the x, from the river where you stopped to drink, you were at 2 on the x-axis. That's where your line of symmetry is. And now you cross 3, 4, and you are at 5. So there has been increase in the values of x. So whilst the y increases from -1 to 8, the x also increases from 2 to 5. But we need the values of x for which y increases as s increases, where both y and x are increasing. And that would be from where our line of symmetry is, or the river is, 2 on the x-axis up to 5. So you may write 2 and 5 and decide which inequality sign to place in between the x and these two values. So this would be our answer. In the inequality form, our answer would be s is greater than 2 and less than or equal to 5. Or in the interval notation form, it will be bracket open 2, 5, bracket close. Please subscribe to this channel so that you may get the chance of watching my other videos which are yet to come and those which are already uploaded. This ends our lesson for today, and I hope it would be of advantage to all of you watching this video. I hope this video helped you to understand the increasing and decreasing values of x and y and vice versa. If you find anything difficult to understand, rewatch the video. May God be with you. Bye.